Hey there, welcome back. And this is the first episode of my video podcast called Do Anything Else, a podcast about being creative or something like that. Anyway, if you've looked at the channel and been around for a while, you'll notice that the name Painfully Honest Tech is no longer on this channel. I've been trying to make that move for a while. I haven't been able to try and figure out how to make that move for a while. And the honest truth is, I just was being a bitch about it. I was being precious. I was holding on to things that I shouldn't hold on to, and I was just sort of marking time and not really being true to myself. Now, the phrase "do anything else" comes to me from a teacher that I had when I was in the Iowa Writers Workshop. His name is Chris Offutt. He's a great writer and a really great teacher. Or I should say that for me, I don't know how it is for anyone else. Chris Offutt was the kind of teacher, you meet these teachers a few times in your life. It's the teacher that you need to have, the teacher that you're ready to hear what it is that they have to say at the moment that they have to say the thing that you need to hear at the moment you need to hear it. And Chris was that teacher for me when I sort of dove deep into the writing thing and wrote my first novel and that sort of thing. And Chris's thought process was, his advice was to anyone who wanted to be a writer, and this goes for anyone who wants to be a creator of anything, an artist of anything in general. If you can do anything else in your life and be happy, do that. Because being an artist or a creative, or however you want to phrase it so that you don't feel like a pompous asshole, however you want to phrase it, doing that is a life that is not easy. And I'm not saying like, oh, geez, it's so hard. You sit around and you type things. No, I mean, it's not easy because you put yourself in these positions and it's always a mental game. Like you're more in a game between yourself and yourself than anything else when you're trying to be a creative person. And so Chris's thought was, and I agree with it, that's why I'm calling this podcast Do Anything Else, was that if you can be happy as an accountant, as an insurance salesman, as a doctor, nurse, anything else, and make your money and do your thing that way, then do that. Because choosing to make your living as a creative person is fraught with all kinds of negative stuff. And I think I also want to add to that being a creative person and trying to make money from it somehow puts you in a position to put the money first. Money is an important thing. I'm not going to say like, oh, I don't need money. Money is an important thing. And I've been making my living on YouTube doing these videos for the past 5 years. And I won't say that my goal hasn't been to make money, but I've also come up against some things that I wasn't willing to do in order to make more money. Therein lies the rub, I guess. So this is going to be my attempt at doing anything else. Things are going to change on the Jason T. Lewis channel. If you can't do anything else, then I'm going to talk to you about the tech, the mentality, the ups and downs, and all those kinds of things that go along with not being able to do anything else, to feeling like you need to do this in such a way that you can't bring yourself to do anything else. How are you going to keep working? How are you going to keep yourself moving forward? How are you going to keep yourself sane? How are you going to keep your integrity as an artist if you're trying to make money? I've had a lot of different answers to that question over the years. I wanted to make my living as a creator, as an artist for the longest time. And I've been through a lot of different things. I started out as a musician. I moved from West Virginia to New York City. I played at open mics. I played opening slots for bands. I went on tour. I made a couple of records with the band. I did, I had a music lawyer. I had a manager. I had a booking agent. I had all the things. And, I got to the point where making a record for a major label was a possibility for a while, and then just making a record for a label was a possibility for a while. Now, things come along, and unfortunately for me, in the late 90s, Napster came around, and the whole concept of digital music, I guess, digital files of music, because CDs are digital, that changed the whole equation for the people that make records. Also, September 11th made a lot of changes in my life, because I lived in New York City at the time that September 11th happened, and my band was in the midst of releasing our second record, and that second record came out literally 2 weeks before September 11th, and we were supposed to leave on September 12th to go on our third tour of that whole year. And we were going to be opening up for another band that was really, they were great guys. We'd played with them before. They had their own following. It was going to be a good tour. 2 weeks out on the road. Of course, it got canceled. That's another long story. So I started out doing the music thing, and then we had my daughter. We left New York City. I didn't know what to do, so I went back and I got my degree. And I didn't get my degree for 12 years between when I started college and when I finished college, and that's another long story. Long story short, there I was a certain number of credits away from graduating, and I thought that I was closer, and I was living in New York City, and I couldn't go back to West Virginia to finish my degree, so I just got a job and I moved forward. And then 12 years later, I decided I wanted to go to grad school, and to do that, I had to have my undergraduate degree. I started writing a novel as part of getting the credits that I needed to do that. I was working with another graduate student, and I applied to 2 graduate programs, West Virginia University's writing program and the Writers' Workshop at Iowa. Got into Iowa, came out here, wrote a novel, taught for 10, 15 years. Somehow, I guess I did make my living as a writer because I was teaching writing, among other things, and directing an academic program and all that kind of stuff. But I had never been able to make my living from what I created on my own. And so when I started with YouTube, that wasn't really on my mind. I was just having fun. YouTube of 2013 was a lot different than YouTube of 2024. And so I just was kind of goofing around. And I didn't really care all that much. I just wanted to make some videos, and so that's what I did. But YouTube has changed a lot since that time. We have seen the rise of the influencer. And with the rise of the influencer has come the opportunity for a lot of people who have been able to build a following to bring money into their pockets by taking money from companies that want to introduce their I'm going to put this in the best way possible. Companies that want to introduce their products to the viewers of those creators. So that's all well and good. On the face of it, that's all well and good. But this is where the do anything else part comes in. If you can do anything else besides that, you should do that. For me, I have been doing it for 5 years. And I have been sort of skirting the line of things that I want to do and things that I have to do. And at this point, do anything else turns around and becomes don't do this anymore. I can't say I'm not going to make sponsored content. I'm going to make sponsored content, but the sponsored content, I'm going to choose the sponsored content pretty much the same way that I've chosen it before, in that I won't talk about something that I don't have interest in, or I don't think people who watch my videos will have interest in. I'm going to make the content that I choose to talk about more focused on what I care about and what I want this channel to be about, which is how to be a creator, how to use tech, what tech it is that's out there that can help you, and just a lot of how-to and educational. I think they call it edutainment now. A lot of that kind of material when it comes to making videos. I'm not gonna get into the fights anymore about 120 hertz refresh rate. I don't honestly give a shit. I'm not going to get into any fights about Samsung versus Apple. I don't give a shit. There was a time when maybe I did give a shit, but I don't give a shit anymore. And here's the thing. So my mom passed away in October of last year, and it took several months, but my brother and I decided to sell my mom's house because he has his own house and I live in Iowa and I have my own house. So we were able to each take away a small chunk of money for ourselves after all the bills were paid and everything was taken care of, which was a great windfall for me in the sense that we were able to pay off pretty much all of our credit cards. We were able to put ourselves in a little bit better position in terms of, bills that we had to pay. I got a new car, but that car cost less than the car that I had before. So all of those things really helped out. And it took a lot of pressure off of me in the day-to-day in terms of I have to make X number of dollars. And a lot of people might be sitting out there, and I've got this advice before, a lot of people might be sitting out there thinking well, Jason, why don't you just go get a job? It's a good question. I don't want to just go take another job. I committed myself to doing this to being a creator and making my way with being a creator. So this is a problem that I have to solve. I have to solve the problem of making money with integrity, the way that I define it, in the way that I can sustain it, and that allows me to do the things that I want to do. Because this is where it all comes down to it. This whole do anything concept is one of those things where if you're driven to be an artist or a creator or whatever you want to call it, and you can't do anything else and be happy, then you have to dedicate yourself to that. And that means just finding a way to make it happen. And I've spent 35 or so years working on finding a way to make it happen. And I've made it happen for the past 5 years. I just haven't been super happy with how the last couple of years have gone because I haven't been making as much money. I haven't been making money in the ways that I would like to. Plans that I had in 2019 when I quit my job didn't quite work out the way that I wanted them to work out when COVID hit. And so I've just been sort of scrambling to make ends meet. I don't want to do that anymore. And so Painfully Honest Tech is gone. It's just time to shit or get off the pot. I'm not a YouTuber anymore. I never really was a YouTuber, but YouTube was a vehicle. YouTube is just a platform, and it's a platform that you don't own. I don't own my channel. YouTube can change the rules at any given time and make my channel be seen by more people or be seen by less people. I mean, not my channel specifically, but changes that they make affect people's channels. So YouTube is out there doing their thing, trying to serve the viewers of YouTube, and how that affects my channel is not under my control. And I can either try and play the game and try and keep getting the millions of hundreds of millions of views or whatever. I can keep trying to do that, but I mean, if you look at my channel numbers, I haven't been doing it. The channel hasn't been growing. I've been at 203,000 subscribers for 18 months. Is a long time. So clearly something that I'm doing is not resonating. And at first I took that as a personal thing. Now I think I've slotted it into an appropriate place, which is that who cares, right? At the end of the day, I have to do the things that I feel satisfied with, that I feel back up my own sense of integrity. There has to be, integrity is an interesting word. Integrity is a word that means that something holds together, right? You hear integrity, structural integrity when talking about buildings or something like that. The structural integrity of my life has to have a certain amount of coherence to what it is that I'm doing. And therefore, things have to change. I have to do something else. I have to do anything else and go in the direction that in my heart of hearts is the direction that I should be going. And that is to talk about being a creative person, to talk about the things that I've learned in the 35 years that I've been a creator and a teacher of creativity. You can't really teach creativity. I've given people, as my teachers gave me, the benefit of the lessons that I've learned and tried to put them in a context that worked for them. You have to just say, okay, if I can't be happy doing this, I have to do anything else and move forward. Whether that's moving away from all of this stuff entirely, or if that's moving in a different direction from all this stuff entirely, or moving toward something new entirely, taking a leap, having faith in yourself, believing in the integrity of your vision for yourself and the things that you're doing, and not trying to fit in anymore. I'm not going to try and fit in to this whole thing anymore. I'm not going to try and play somebody else's game. I'm just going to talk about the things that I feel I have to deliver to the people who may or may not want to listen to or watch the videos and content that I make. Because that's how I'm going to be happy. That's how I'm going to have integrity. That's how I'm going to be a creator and not an influencer. That's how I'm going to be an artist. And that's the thing. As I've struggled over all this stuff, it has dawned on me that my mindset when it comes to creating things and putting them into the world is not a business-first mindset. Making money is a byproduct of doing the thing and not the driving force of doing the thing. And I've tried to go against that and do and put money first. It's not my nature to do that. Does that mean I don't want to make money? No. It just means that I can't put numbers in front of output. I have to put out the output and then hope that the numbers come. I don't know if I'm explaining that well enough, but that is what I'm thinking and doing right now. So once again, I need a new catchphrase. I need something else besides what I've always said. If you can do anything, I'll leave you with this once again. If you can do anything else besides live this creative life, then do that. But if you can't, then follow along with me, because I've been doing it for a long time, and hopefully I have some things to offer that will help you along your journey. Anyway, thanks so much for being here. I'll talk to you the next time. Jason T. Lewis, signing off.